Good evening, everyone. We are back with another edition of Haddonfield Talks. I'd like to welcome to the stage the Superintendent of Schools in Haddonfield, Mr. Chuck Klaus. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thank you. About yourself?
I'm good, thank you. I appreciate you taking this time and such a busy season for you, I guess, huh?
It is. This is it's one of those things where my year runs different than a typical school year, what people would think. And January is one of my busiest times. Ironically, like October is very easy for me, but January is a crazy time. But that's all right.
Especially during a snowstorm, huh? You're up pretty late. You know, we might as well segue into that. I would love to hear, because there's so much intrigue. I've never actually pulled apart and done the anatomy of a superintendent, let alone the superintendent of Haddonfield, which is a pressure cooker, I'm sure.
They all are, yeah.
But so what happens when these storms come about? What is your day look? Who are you speaking with?
Everyone and anyone. And so this was actually pretty easy. Yes, today was actually a pretty easy call, right? Because you had a long storm. It ended at a time it would be hard to clear the buildings, get them all ready to go. But I'm on text strings with my head of facilities, my grounds people. They're in touch with the public works, the Haddonfield, to talk about the work they're doing. I'm on two other text strings, the superintendents in the area. I've got 5 or 6 weather apps that all say different things. But so we sit and talk and try to figure it out. And today we just called a 2-hour delay. I think we just talked about that. People probably know by now. That's a little more challenging because it's not an obvious thing. But with the freezing overnight, and we want people to be there safe. And so one of the challenges is that if the borough is still plowing, our driveways might be blocked. As we've all done that. We've shoveled our driveways and then had it blocked. But we've also lost a significant amount of parking in our schools because of the amount of snow.
Yeah.
So our teachers need to have time to get there safely, find a place to park because their parking spot might be gone, and get in and get ready to start the day. So we just thought, safe side, let's call it a 2-hour delay tomorrow and make sure everyone gets there safe and we can have a good day.
How does that? So I know you have to legally be in school for a set amount of days per year. 100. Oh, it's 108 days.
Yes.
So all of these delays and these missed days, they all get factored in, and how much can you actually feasibly push back in the? Well, you get out in June, I guess.
We get out in June, right? Yeah, we're out in June. So we have 181 days scheduled on our calendar. So today's a free day, so we won't have to make this up. If we have any more days off for emergency closing, we eat into our spring break.
Got it.
So it'll begin the spring break. So the next one will be the Monday spring break. We'll be in school.
Okay, got it.
And then after that, the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
So it could feasibly eat the whole spring break if you get a bad winter.
It could. And, I have not been thinking that way, but now that you bring that up, Chad, I will now not sleep tonight because of that.
So the decision to do these things, you're literally talking to 20. I mean, it's a lot.
It's a lot, and it's all day. And we started this conversation last Wednesday.
Oh wow! Yeah, that makes sense.
We start that, and we started as soon as we start getting the early ones in, and we have our facilities. Tim McFerrin's the head of our building and grounds, and he's great. And our team was out there yesterday. They got on site around 12 or 1 yesterday. They were there till 9. And then they went in today around 7 and worked until noon. And if we decided to go on time tomorrow, they'd be in at 4 tomorrow to make sure it's clean. So they do a great job. This was a very challenging for those of you who shoveled today. And I shouldn't be shoveling at my age, but I still shovel today. It was a hard shovel. Like yesterday was a lot of snow, and today they had the ice on it. So they even with the equipment, it's a challenge for them. But they do a great job. So. We'll be ready to go tomorrow. A little late. Kids get to sleep in.
My son was thrilled.
Yes, all the kids are thrilled. Yeah, I tell the kids when I meet, I go to classrooms, spend time with students, and when I meet with kids, superintendent, I try to talk about what I do as a job, and I said, I'm the guy who closes schools for snow days, and then I'm everyone's favorite. So tomorrow, I will make sure to go into schools tomorrow to walk around and see kids so they can thank me. But I also make them promise they go up and play in the snow. So if I call off school for snow, you're not going to play video games. You're going to go outside and play, right? And so I try to get them to do that.
It's interesting. Now, how many students? It's funny. I look at Haddonfield. I came from the police chief and I actually went to the same high school.
Okay.
And not at the same years, but similar areas. And I came from a super small area. I graduated with 125 or 130 kids.
All right.
How many kids per class is Haddonfield now?
Right around 200.
It seems bigger though. I don't know why. Haddonfield seems larger, doesn't it?
It feels because we're at a lot of grade levels. We're at max. So it feels bigger because we're packed.
Yeah.
But when I was principal, we never got more than 180 kids in a class, right? So now we're generally over 200, 210. So it has gotten bigger in the last half a decade.
Yeah.
When I first got here, we were 165, 170. So
wow.
it is growing. So it is a growing population.
I mean, I guess there's only so much capacity too, right? I mean,
and it's more so. I mean, middle school and high school, you can do some scheduling stuff and tweaks and stuff. But in the elementary school, with class max sizes at 25, I think Central Schools got like 4 spots. Right? That's how credit we are. And right now, excuse me, there are 50 students attending Elizabeth Haddon who either live in Tatum or Central sections of town. Wow. Because those 2 buildings are that crowded.
Yeah, and it's funny, when you navigate this system as a parent, it is super nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah.
Because I never understood, and my children are elementary, but you don't necessarily get the school closest to you physically because it all depends on capacity, right?
Right. So ideally, if we were under capacity, you would basically be the closest school. Although there's areas where the map is a little quirky, where you might be a little bit further. But right now, because we're simply at capacity, we have students traveling past their school and their catchment to go to Elizabeth Haddon. Got
it. Well, I got a lot of fun. It's funny, as we're talking, more and more things pop up in my head that I haven't even thought to ask you. But talk to us about your journey. So how did you become superintendent? What'd you do educationally? What was your experience?
I almost have no idea how I became superintendent, to be honest with you. So I started off, I went to Boston University. I actually started off as Purdue as a freshman. I transferred to Boston University and I graduated from there. Wow. I had my master's from Wilmington University. I came to Haddonfield in 1993 as a wrestling coach. I was teaching somewhere else. Really? Yeah. And then in 94, I came here as a teacher.
What'd you teach?
English.
English. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's my worst subject by far.
That's
too many commas, man. It's too many commas. I just put commas everywhere. Yeah. Well,
if we want to debate the Oxford comma, we could do that for a while. Though, most of the listeners want to do that. And then I became in 2011, I think it was 2009. I'm sorry, I became the assistant principal of the high school. So they created a third. They used to have just 2 administrators. They created a third administrator, dean of students, and an assistant principal. I became the assistant principal of curriculum instruction. I was there for a couple of years, and then I went to Central School to become the principal there for 1 year.
Okay.
It had been the first time I had been in an elementary school since I was 11.
Okay.
But it was fascinating. I learned so much there. I will tell you this, that there is nothing in life that will prepare you for the first day of lunch for first graders. It was just, I was terrified. And then I had gone from the high school to there. And in that time, some people changed, things happened. And the high school principal, Mike Wilson, became the assistant superintendent, and they moved me to the high school principal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes. So I was there for a while. And then in 2018, I think it was, there was a change in central administration. The superintendent and assistant superintendent left. They brought in Larry Mussolini, and he brought me in to become the interim assistant superintendent, then assistant superintendent. And then Larry left, and in July of 2020, I became the superintendent of the school. So I've been there. This is my 6th year now. And I'd like to tell people, or don't like to tell people, I think back with terror that I took over in July 2020. We all know what was happening then.
Yeah.
My first board meeting was virtual, as you can imagine. There were like 2,500 people online watching it.
Wow.
And it went for a full 4 to 5 hours, and we had to come back 3 days later for another one of those. And that was my initiation into the job was that working our way through COVID, which I think we did very well.
Yeah. I mean, to be totally honest, I think people did as well as they could, right?
Right. Yes.
I mean, with what you had, that's nuts. Shoo, what a time to come in.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it happened quickly for you, though. I mean, you spoke through it quickly, but
right,
it doesn't sound like
from principal to superintendent happened real quick.
Yeah.
There were little steps along the way, but from principal to superintendent did happen very quickly. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess a couple questions that come to mind is, what is the difference in the jobs from a macro view as you're going through the ranks? Does it become more corporate, political, managerial, as opposed to the day-to-day of the school itself?
It certainly becomes more political.
Yeah.
I will tell you this, and I say it all the time. I think high school principal might be a harder job than superintendent.
Yeah.
You're in the grind. You're making decisions on the spot. You're very much involved with the people you're making decisions with, and so when things go from my desk, I'm kind of separated. Assistant superintendent is more operational, managerial. And superintendent is really more political. I do a lot of talking to people and convincing people of this, that, and working with people to develop a vision, and then telling people how I think the vision should be implemented and asking them to do that work. So it really is more of that political, and especially like we've seen it recently with the bond referendum, and now with the budget challenges we're having, being out in front of things and trying to communicate the challenges we face and possible solutions really is the bigger part of the job. And I'm fortunate I have a great team with Mike Catalano, our business administrator, Gino Priola, who's our assistant superintendent, who are great with details and focused on that operational stuff. That I do have some freedom to get on the 3,000 foot look down on things. I'm very lucky to have that.
And so, superintendent, in a nutshell, is there some level of appointment and some level of election, or is it just an appointment that's approved by the board? How does that work?
The board hires me. So the way to look at it is, technically, if you look at the black and white of it, is the board has one employee, and that's me.
Got it.
And then everyone else works for me, right? So the board of education, this is not how it works in practicality, because it wouldn't be realistic. The board of education hires a superintendent, evaluates superintendent, and sets policy. And so you could say that everything that happens in the school is my job to make that happen. I make all those decisions, and the board just says whether I did it well or not. But a good board, which we have, asks a lot of hard questions of me, so I have to answer that. So that's how that works. So they kind of challenge me on how I'm operating.
Right.
But ultimately, my job is to take the policy that they develop, make sure it's implemented correctly, and that happens. And then with those challenges of budget and staffing and those things, I deal with those ins and outs every day.
So there's a lot of things. It's funny, like literally as we're talking, more and more is coming to my mind. But I think the most, I would call it the elephant in the room, but the most obvious, Haddonfield is consistently ranked extremely, extremely high, right? From a public school perspective in the state, has been for, and I don't know statistically, I'm going to guess a long time.
Long time. Yes.
Long time. Why? Why is it ranked so high?
Not because of Chuck, I can promise you that. I mean, if you want to give me credit, I'll take it, but I'm going to tell you that is not the actual finding.
But with all due respect, Chuck, I mean, you're coming into a level of expectation, right?
Correct.
People move into this town because of the excellence of the academics, right, and they expect it to continue, right?
And that's part of how we continue is the expectation. We have the ideal blend. We have students who come to school ready to work every day. First of all, we're dealing in a world now where the biggest challenge that school districts are facing is kids not coming to school. Our kids come to school, right? That's number one. Our kids come to school prepared and ready to work.
Is that worse than it's been in the past?
Oh, significantly, yeah.
Really?
There's districts that are missing high percentage of students.
Really?
Yeah.
And what is that? What are they attributing that to?
They stopped coming during COVID and didn't return. I guess that's a big part of it. It's not something when I go to conferences or I talk to other superintendents or challenge this, it's not something I focus on because it's not my challenge.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
But our kids come to school, they're ready to work. I was anecdotally, when you show up at school and you didn't do your homework in Haddonfield, you're the rarity, right?
And, you're the black sheep.
And the teacher says, get in a group of 3 and talk about your homework. And you can do it. I can't. I have to be prepared tomorrow. And that's because the parents demand that, right? We have parents who care about education passionately, which is a huge key. And when I tell people where I work and what I do, the first thing everyone does is roll their eyes and go, "Oh my God, God bless you. Those parents must be insane."
Yeah.
But they're not.
Yeah.
They're great. I've coached. I can't 60 seasons of sports in Haddonfield. I taught here. I've had many jobs. I have found these parents be nothing but benefit, but just absolute assets and supportive. And even parents who challenge you when you talk to them and you explain your point of view, they may not walk away agreeing with you, which is fine because not everyone agrees, but they appreciate the fact that you were thoughtful about it. And it also means you can't give lip service. You have to be thoughtful about your answers because they care. Right. And I'll argue my staff is as good as anybody around. So you have great students, you have a strong, passionate staff, and you have parents who truly care about education and support the teachers and work in collaboration with them. It's a perfect blend of how to be successful. The challenge is, I think you pointed out, I guess kind of the question is, when you're doing so well, how do you
how do you stay on top?
It's the good to great thing. How do you stay on top?
Yeah.
You just gotta try, because what I rarely get, but you do get sometimes, I think, murmuring like, why are we changing? We're doing just fine. And the answer always is because we can always do better. So we try to be innovative. We try to make changes. We try to keep challenging ourselves and looking for ways, little ways, subtle ways to improve. And the best thing that I get most of those nuanced pieces right now from our teacher leaders, which is our local professional development committee, our content area supervisors who look at what they're doing and say, we're using this program, it's working great, but we're missing this little X factor here. Let's challenge trying to find another program. And we got a lot of initiatives started at those levels that are seeing changes. And one of those, like our math change to iReady, is really a look at saying we were doing well in math, but I think the kids are doing well on one level, but I think they can go deeper and understanding deeper math concepts if we nuance this in one of the different ways. So that's the kind of things we're looking at doing all the time.
Got it. Yeah, it's interesting when you talk about it. I guess you constantly have to be evolving and critiquing curriculum, especially as as generations change, right? And their types of learning. Because I'm going to tell you the truth, my son brings home that homework, man. I'm struggling with. I don't know what math. I don't know that math at all. I'm like, what is this math?
That is true. That happens in my case too. That they are doing. I was in a second grade classroom the other day at Elizabeth Haddon, and they were working on stuff. I'm walking around talking to kids, and I started getting nervous. So if somebody asked me a question, I'm not going to know what I'm going to do. I'm going to think about getting out of here quicker than I was planning on getting out of here, just in case they asked me help with one of their questions, because I was scratching my head a little bit with it.
So it's funny. You mentioned the two pieces, well, the three pieces, which is the children being so eager, the supportive parents, and then the excellent staff. So the parents and the children, you have less control over, right? But when it comes to the staff, what is it? I guess my question is, when you came in, how structured was the actual staff component of it, and what changes did you make along the way that you thought were necessary?
But the staff had been solid, so I didn't do any major changes in that.
Is it a highly are general staff positions in the Haddonfield education system highly sought after amongst the education community?
They are. So this is the message we pound to all of our administrators. The most important thing you do as a building leader is to hire the right people, right? And I'll even say this: the second most important thing is, if they're not the right person, let them go, right? I mean, they're the two things. You got to hire well. You should be willing to fire. Let go people who I've fired. That sounds awful. Right. That's true, right? That's what you have to do.
Absolutely. I mean, it's hard to fire these days, though. I mean, you really have to document, right? Right.
Sure, you do. Yeah. But especially in a job where, when you get tenure, it's a job for life, right? So you have, you're affecting a lot. You're affecting not just 2 years. You're affecting thousands of kids. So we really place a strong emphasis on really hiring well, strong evaluation, and if it's not a right fit, moving on from the person. Yeah. And that's something we've spent a lot of time focused on. We've always done that at Haddonfield, but we know that, and we also know right now there's with the climate education today. And you talked about a desired position. There are positions down in education. World language teachers. They're hard to find. Right. Science teachers. You're going into, you're a chemist or a physicist, you have a degree in physics, you're going to go teach for X when you can be in the industry making 3 times that.
That's true. I never thought about that.
We have hard to find positions. We'll call people. Yeah. We'll find out who's good in this job, and we'll call them up and say, hey, would you consider, applying to Haddonfield? Because we value excellent teaching. The other thing we do too, is we'll hire experience. There's a lot of districts who, because of budgetary reasons, will only hire kids right out of college, which we hire a lot of kids right out of college, but we also know that there's going to be a time where we may have to say, hey, let's find that experienced person, because we know the value of this position. We know the challenge of finding the right person. We'll budgetarily we'll take the hit, but we'll have to figure it out somewhere else, because we want the best kids in front of our students. I mean, the number one factor for a kid's positive education is the adult standing in front of them every day. The number one effective thing for a building is the principal who stands in front of those teachers. These are all, it's not rocket science, but it's been documented through, research too. Yeah. So they're the things that we really value. I'm in a people business.
How much of that came from you, and how much of that was something you stepped into? Was that environment and culture there, or did you bring
it was there. It was there. I think I speak perfectly to that. That's who I am, and that's what I've always believed. So me walking in there, I didn't have to adopt that. If that wasn't the case, that's what I would have made it. Right. I think if you ask people who've known me for a long time, who've known me in my different roles, that's what I valued. I valued those peoples and those peoples. Gosh, goodness gracious! Those people in those classrooms working with kids, and when I was in the classroom, that's what I always felt too. So that's right. It's my philosophy. It was the foundation of Haddonfield. I would say the one maybe different thing that my predecessor Larry kind of took over, and I really believe I've strengthened is in education, even though it's a people business and it's a relationship business, we tend to silo ourselves. I sit in my classroom, you sit in your classroom, I teach my kids, you teach your kids. And even more so, we have 3 elementary schools and a middle. And so really trying to break down that silo and have people talk across classrooms and across buildings. I took 2 elementary school teachers on a tour of the high school last week to kind of say, you start out, this is the foundation you build. Let's see what that looks like 8 years after you build it when they're walking around. And I'll take high school teachers and go down and do the same thing so they can see where the foundation's made.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah. It's a K-12 system. And we need to know what's happening everywhere else. Along those same lines, 4 years ago, 3 years ago at a board meeting, so a person made a public comment about the music program, how it was suffering. And she was right. So we went a deep dive, and what we realized is that we had 3 music programs. We had a K-5 program, a 6-8 program, a 9-12 program. Tore it down. We now have a K-12 program.
It was disjointed. Yeah,
it was disjointed. And now it's not. And now it's growing. And I think the middle school is going to Hershey Park with their band. It's like half the school, 3/4 of the school. It's cool. It was really real nice success story. But it was breaking down those silos and becoming a K-12 span. And that's something I really believe strongly about. I've been trying to get make sure that's in place.
Interesting, really interesting. And so I'm curious. We talked about a lot of the things that Haddonfield does well. What do you think are the things that, I don't know if I should say challenges or things that you don't do that well that you'd like to see do better?
Wow. I should have been prepared for. I should have thought that question was coming. It's always one of those things.
I'm pretty good, Chuck.
Yeah. I think that I would go back to maybe not do well, but always the area of improvement. I mean, I'm passionate. We need to be. We're good writers. We will be better writers. I'm loving to see. We now use framing your thoughts in our elementary school district and our elementary buildings, which is diagramming sentences. I mean, I'm sounding old school as an old school Catholic school boy.
You're not. You want to know something? Why, Chuck? I'm going to tell you why. My normal follow up to this is going to be your opinion on technology and what it's done and how much I say good and bad it's done.
Right. Yeah. So I think we're getting stronger at that, which is an area. I mean, pendulum swing, right? And so we get caught in that pendulum swing. So I think that's an area where we're getting good on getting better at things. The governor just signed. We're going back to cursive writing.
Yeah.
Not Chuck's choice, but I'm glad we're doing it. Right? That's one of those things, right? It's like we're caught up in these things, and sometimes it helps to have a little push to do this.
I have to laugh. Have you seen Billy Madison?
I have not. I know I've seen clips of it. I haven't seen this from beginning to end, but I've seen clips of it.
It's the premise of the film is that he has to go back to school and start from first grade and work his way through to take over his father's company. And I think it's either a 3rd or 4th grade, and he gets the cursive writing. And the teacher asked him to write it was Rizzuto was the ball player and had 2 Z's, and he struggled tremendously with the cursive.
I can see that for sure. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think we need. There's areas like I think we need to expand it in our. One of the things that we are so academically focused that if you're a child in our town and you don't have an inclination to academics, we don't have much for you.
Yeah,
and that's a shame.
Yeah,
I mean, I have my one son builds planes for Boeing. I mean, he's a hands-on guy, right? And so he went to Haddonfield and he did all right there. He did well there, but we couldn't fulfill his desires there. We don't have a wood shop. All those things that have gone away with time, we've gone away quicker and more distantly than other school districts around us. And I think that's an area where we don't have enough.
That is a phenomenal point, and I'll tell you why. I don't know how much you follow the trends economically, educationally, outside of the areas you're in, but the trades themselves. So if you look at private equity now, their largest investment has actually become into small family-owned trade businesses, electricians, plumbing. It's amazing how profitable these things have become because there's so few of them left. Right.
I mean, I've had conversations with former students who are now welders and doing great.
Amazing.
You talk about the small family business. I taught a local plumber in town who's got, you see his trucks all around. I'm not sure I can can give a plug to
you can give his plug. I know everyone knows who he is anyway.
Yeah, I taught Chaz when he was a senior in high school.
Yeah,
and I mean, he's doing great because he found that niche in his way.
Yeah,
and we didn't have that for Chaz when he was in high school, right? We had books.
Yeah,
and books are great. You know, I'm an academic guy, but that's probably our greatest weakness is we don't have that in our thing, or probably my flaw, a plan for it right now.
Yeah.
You know, those programs take space, are expensive, and you know, we scratch our head and say, how can we do it? And we don't have an answer for that. But that's a weakness we have for sure.
What's the connection? It's funny. I've seen this somewhat on the Facebook groups when or high school age children or kids, I should say. I'm getting old now. When they want to get professional experience, do you guys have a good connection with the outside world in that regard?
Postgraduate, or
well, even as they get like towards the end, like I guess, do you call them internships, externships? What do you guys call it?
We do not have a great deal of externships now.
Okay.
Another, you know, we try to align some people when we can. You know, we have what's called a concentration of studies, where if you want to look at medicine, you take certain courses. We try to get you an externship. You work with an externship, and you get a certification for that. But that's a place where we used to have that, and in our business department, and that went away as when managing personal finance became a requirement for every student to take. When we have our business department is one person.
Yeah,
he's got to teach all 800 kids managing personal finance.
Wait. Your business department is one person.
One person.
So I'm going to put this out there, right?
There you go.
We have probably some of the most successful people in our microcosm, right? In Haddonfield.
Yes.
In business. Don't you think you could find a couple people to guest lecture or to donate time?
We do. We do have things like lunch talks. We do those things. But as far as a curriculum.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I can see you have to satisfy it. Yeah.
So we have people who do that, and we've had people who had great internships, taking people to their companies and working with them, or externships, that concentration of studies. But as far as having someone job place and manage, that program died, 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Because.
Oh, look at this, Chuck. Chuck, I got a surprise for you.
What's that?
Chaz just gave you a shout out, buddy. He says this is in real time. He said you helped him immensely, and Haddonfield is lucky to have you.
Well, it's very kind, Chaz.
He also said that I'm all right too, so I appreciate that, Chaz.
There you go.
That's funny.
I want a commission off all the sales he got during that little blip. But part of the reason why that program went away was most of those placements in those traditional programs are they were in retail and those type of things, and a lot of Haddonfield kids didn't have an interest in that. They were thinking management type of stuff.
Got it.
And so you didn't have a lot of kids signing up for the courses. So it started dying that way. And then once again, you know, it went, I think maybe it was 20 years, maybe it was 10 years ago, but then management of personal finance came in, and every kid had to take that as a graduation requirement.
Yeah. That
kind of filled that schedule. You're spending hours teaching, you know, with one or two kids in these placements versus the 50 kids or 100 kids to get through managing personal finance. And that became a practicality of the budget.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the tough part, is while you're trying to, you know, cater to everyone's desires and interests, you still have to hit your hours and curriculum for them to legally graduate. So I
hit the $1 billion lottery a couple of weeks ago. Who knows? We would have a whole bunch of stuff in Haddonfield we don't have right now. That's
true. That's valid. You know, it's funny. People are very quick to judge without thinking about how difficult it is just to meet. I mean, you, in addition to making everyone happy, you have a job that you actually objectively have to do, right?
Yeah. and there's requirements. There's requirements the kids have to get X number of credits in this, Y, and that, and Z and that.
Yeah.
And, you know, in a school district with which is we're average size, group 2, we're decent size, but our fine and practical our fine arts department is large, but our practical arts department is kind of small, but all those kids still need the credit. So we have to have programs that can not just meet those credit demands, but also handle large groups of students.
Right.
If we put in a TV production studio, which would be very expensive, but you might only get 40, 50 kids a year interested in that, right?
Right.
Foods and nutrition, there's 200 kids. So we're able to there's a scale in that. We need to be able to process 200 kids through our practical arts, not 40 or 50. Otherwise, sense. Kids can't graduate high school.
That makes sense. And how often are you guys doing what we call, like, I guess, the exploratory part and looking at new stuff? Is that
all the time? Yeah,
constantly?
All the time. So we're looking at it all the time, and right now our graphics department. So we have our 2 art classes, and then we have a third, which is kind of a design graphics, computer graphics thing. That is evolving constantly as kids' interests grow in design versus digital photography. So it's always growing with what the kids, and the courses are almost set up like you sign up for the course and then you figure out what the course is going to be as you go through, because it's kind of made to kind of do that. And so that those courses change every other year. And so we're always looking at that type of stuff. One of the challenges with wholesale changes are budgets, right? So if we wanted to put in a wood shop, which we don't have space for, but if we did, that's $1 million investment.
Yeah.
Just in equipment, right? And then try to find a wood shop teacher is B. But as you start looking at some of those programs, just to be able to put into play what it would take to be able to, the foundation for it is really tough.
Yeah. You never think about that. You always just think, why don't you just do it? But you don't think of that, everything else involved. It's interesting. I want to ask you a broader question. What do you think on an average, and I'm going to go high school now.
Right.
What's the pressure like nowadays on an average Haddonfield student?
It's immense. It has been for a long time. It is. When I became principal in 2012, maybe whatever it was, one of my goals was to take some of the pressure off the kids, or whatever phrasing I was. It was the wrong goal. The goal really should have been how do you have them deal with the pressure better, right? Because I could take a lot of pressure off kids, and then all of a sudden we're not getting into schools we're getting into, and it's just not the same school. Test scores start dropping and this and that. Right. But there's all kinds of pressure. I use this analogy all the time, so people, if anyone's watching, you've heard me talk before, they're going to roll their eyes at it. But as an English teacher, there's a short story called The Rocking Horse Winner, and the quick synopsis of it: kid families needs money. Kid rides his rocking horse and he hears a walls whisper. That's the whole thing, and he rides harder. And the harder he rides, the more they come into money different ways. And he rides so hard he dies. It's a sad story, but like I said, the walls of that high school whisper. It is very competitive. It's competitive against everyone else. It's competitive against each other. It is really a pressure cooker place, and it affects a lot of kids not in a positive way. There's that metal hardens metal, but there's also sometimes it's too much pressure. But it is a building expectations. I actually did a survey of the parents, the teachers, and the kids. This I probably don't have the exact numbers, and it's an old survey because I was principal. But everyone agreed there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And the teacher said the parents cause the pressure. The parents said the teachers cause the pressure, and the kids said all of us cause the pressure. Right? The parents and teachers and us. But there's no doubt that is a place where expectations are set high. And as I say, when you show up to school without your homework done, that's a rarity.
But you know what you're saying to me, Chuck? That's interesting. It's not institutional, right? You guys aren't literally pulling out the whips. It's more social. It's more cultural than it is.
It is.
Yeah.
but we the parents own part of the pressure. We own part of the pressure. The students own part of the pressure.
Right.
It is, but it's also, if we go back to what made the schools great,
right?
It's expectations,
right?
And the expectations are high from all three.
Right.
There are school districts where they don't give homework anymore, right? That's sad to say, but
yeah.
Although my students wouldn't say that, they would say, "I want to go there." But so that's that. There is pressure at the high school. It's a real thing.
And then sports. Let's talk about sports for a minute. Okay. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. I'm going to give a broad stroke. If you're not at least above average, is it tough to even get on a team?
Well, we up until 2 years ago, we had a no cup policy for everything except for basketball and golf.
And I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, really? For basketball, there's only so many seats you can put in the gym. And for golf, there's only so many people who can put on the course. But is
golf huge? Is golf huge? Like
it is big. It is big, but you can only have so many kids on the team because we play on Tavistock. You only get 10 tee times a week.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? That's a factor there. But I mean, 85% of our kids participate in sports. Maybe 83, 85.
And then how does that compare to most schools? That's
most are 50 or fewer. I mean, it's and if you take all extracurriculars, we're above 90%, which is freakish.
Wow.
So you could be on teams, but our teams exceed. I mean, we've won hundreds. Since 2000, we've won 125 state championships or some number like that. I wish I had the numbers off the top of my head. It might even be higher than that.
Yeah.
And they're teams that are. I mean, we have some of the best coaches I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And not just because they win, because of the way they treat kids and the way lessons kids learn from it.
Yeah.
So and I would say that for the most, like our girls track team or some of our track teams, they have 80, 90 kids on it. Every kid feels valued there.
Yeah.
And then they're winning state championships.
Yeah.
So
if I understand what you're saying, regardless of skill level, being a part of the team, understanding, team development and there's value to be had even if you're not the star.
Correct. There's a place, and we also, I mean, I looked at our last board meeting minutes. I was looking at reviewing it for the meeting and going over the personnel, and we hired coaches for the spring, and as many coaches there were unpaid volunteers being approved too. And that is key to being able, everyone fits in because people care about the teams and they're there with them. If it was only the hired coaches and you had 80 kids on your track team, there's kids who are going to feel missed. But when you have the 4 paid coaches and 6 volunteer coaches, everyone finds someone they can connect with.
Yeah.
Our sports program and our extracurricular programs, I think we were just named in niche the #1 public sports school in the state.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's another place where high expectations, professionalism, kids coming, ready to work, willing to work, wanting to work, and it doesn't help. It doesn't hurt that, the parents are there in the stands supporting them, and the parents are there, supporting the booster clubs, which do a great job, and all that stuff. So it's the same formula.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's so funny when I'm listening to you talk though, because you're very much a friendly, laid back, like I can tell it's really that you're taking on, I mean, this is legacy at Haddonfield. Sports has been a big thing at Haddonfield for what?
Forever.
It's amazing. It's funny. And I talk like an outsider because I am an outsider. Like I'm like everyone else. Right. I came here because I wanted my kids to have the education. And then when you get into the nitty gritty of it, it's like a catch-22. You love it. It's a great town. But then you're like, oh man, I hope my kid's good. Because it's a lot of pressure, academically and sports and all that other stuff. But listening to you talk makes me feel a little better because it makes me think that the kids don't get lost, right? No matter where they are.
That is absolutely one of our goals for our administrative team and for us as a district is that, I do worry about if you ask me what I worry about with kids. You didn't ask me that, but I'm going to throw the question out there.
Yeah.
And there's every district, every level, but there's going to be your high flying, great kids, everything, right? The top 20% or whatever, they're going to be great.
Yeah.
And your bottom 20% or 30%, they're identified. They get extra attention for their special needs or this and that, the other thing. But there's kids that go to school, who the phrase I used to say, they succeed out of obligation. They come to school every day. Their homework's done. They are polite, and they get their 89, they get their 85, and they go through, and they're just fine.
Right.
And sometimes I wonder how many of them could be great if we could tap into them being more than just fine. You know what I mean? It's like I look at kids who, when I was a teacher and when I was a principal, and I talked to my high school principal, I talked to my principals all the time, like, are we missing opportunities to inspire kids beyond just being a student? And when we talk about that stuff with the trades, where we don't have that opportunity, if we had that opportunity, some of those kids who are succeeding out of obligation might find a huge spark. And
absolutely,
yeah. I think we see that the most with our fine arts programs, where we find kids who they go through school and they're doing great, and then all of a sudden they get into that art class, they get into that music program, and they really fly high there. And that's one of the things that I do sit up and I say, are we missing some of these kids? And I've been working with my middle school and high school principals, because that's really starts to see the diversion of that a little bit more on how we can identify those. And we're out looking for, you talk about looking for curricular programs. We're out looking for ways, other places where they find this, and they try to say, how do we make sure everyone is tapped to their fullest? And sometimes the answer is they don't want to be, right? They're very happy. Some of those kids who I'm talking about right now, they're like, that sounds like a perfect life to me.
Yeah.
And leave me alone. I want to be this way, right? That's fine. Yeah. But for my job is to worry, what if we missed that kid who we could have inspired greater than we did inspire them?
Well, and I think there's something to say too about the fact that the extremes aren't always the necessarily most successful either. I mean,
correct.
People that are just so off the charts in so many aspects aren't necessarily the most well-rounded, and I mean, I'll be completely honest. I was a good student. I wasn't phenomenal, but I have always had a good personality. And I always felt like my social skills and my personality took me further than the other stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There is, and I will say I was a successful student, but I was a good student. I could remember everything you said when I was 15 years old, and then on the test next week, write it back down.
Yeah.
That was my student experience, right?
Yeah.
It's very different today. I would not be a successful student today unless I changed my habits.
Yeah.
But I also would say that a lot of my success I found in my career is I'm a pretty good leader, and so people will trust me. I work well with people, and I have I'm good at building teams, and that's where my success is. Not necessarily my knowledge of state funding formulas. Yeah. My skill set tends to be more in building teams and having teams grow together.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that probably makes the most sense in terms of what you're doing now, I would think.
Yeah, I agree.
How's the food?
How's the food?
Yeah, how do you think the food is? I'm just curious. What's your opinion? Yeah.
Yeah, it's better than the square pizzas I used to get. It's pretty good.
What do you think of the food? I don't know.
It's pretty good. It's funny you ask that, because they do all the kids write essays for change in the 5th grade, and Mr. DeFilippis at Tatum has us come over every year to talk to kids, and they'll there's 3 topics that come up every year: lunch, homework, and 3-day weekends. And we all want all 3 of those to be better. But the food is it's better than the food we used to have. It's not great.
I love this answer, Chuck. I feel like you're giving me the real answer, but dancing around it. I like it.
and for Haddon Tatum, the food's made at middle school and brought over. So there's a little bit of that too. But the high school's got a pretty nice setup.
Chuck, I want to ask you an honest opinion, right? I can't leave this podcast without asking you one thing.
Yep.
Don't you think it's crazy we don't have buses?
Well, no, because we're 2 square miles. And that's the mandated bus.
Oh, man, I thought I was going to get you to say something else. Okay, all right. I wish we had a bus. Come on.
We have buses, but we use them for certain routes. But we interesting thing. Our budget for transportation is over $1 million, even though we don't have buses. Just for athletics and for students with IEPs who need busing.
Okay.
But since we're under 2 square miles, we don't need to have buses run, and we won't do courtesy busing because it is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
When we take a trip if we're playing Haddon Heights in soccer, and we don't have a bus driver because our bus drivers making other runs. We have to go to the people we contract with to run that soccer team to Haddon Heights, watch them play soccer and come back, $550.
Wow.
Wow is right. And we have a lot of sports teams. And so that's why our buses, that's one, as we attack our budget, that's one of the areas we're trying to look at. How can we be more creative with that? Because you said we don't have buses, but we spend $1 million in buses. And
well, that's all I see. Then I don't have a bus for my kid. All right, and I'm going to get you with one other.
I walk to school. I live further away from my office than anyone in town lives, and I still.
Do you walk? And you walk all the way?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. All right. God bless you, man.
Yeah.
All right. So the full day kindergarten. What do you think?
We'll have it in place, or hope.
No, are you happy about it? I'm happy about it.
I'm thrilled about it. That was one of my goals. That's one of my goals when I got in. Was to do that. I think it was. I think I used the word. I used it when I was running for embarrassing. The fact that we don't have it right now. Yeah. It really is. It is disservice to those students, and I'm excited we're getting it. I wish I could have it happen today. We're on track. We're hoping to have it 27, 28. Construction is going to be a big part of that. If not, we'll definitely by 28, 29. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to be there the first day when it happens and meet the kids coming in. You look back on your career, you say, you retire, what are things you're happy about? That'll be one of the things I'll look at and say, I'm really glad I did that, because I think that's cool. Something we really need it.
Yeah, that's really cool. No, that's really, and it's funny. You just segued in. So how much gas do you have left in the tank?
Oh, I don't know. I'm young. I'm 62. I'll be, so I still have some more time left. I mean, my contract's up in June, but the board's talking about a new one. So we'll find out next couple of months if they really want me or not.
Well, Chuck, if you need to come back on the podcast to help your case, just let me know. I always love this. So you ready? Look up at the timer. Look how long we went.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. Feels like only a minute.
Well, I appreciate your time on a very busy Monday night, especially in the midst of the storms that are here.
That's right. Especially since my bedtime's 8:30, so I'm well past bedtime.
I figured that, man. Well, I'm going to let you go. I want to thank you so much. I had a really great time talking to you and really learning about you and all that good stuff.
I enjoyed it too, Chad. We can do it again if you want to.
Oh, 100%. Well, I hope everyone out there enjoyed it too. The full episode will be up on our YouTube page, and I'll be putting up all kinds of reels in the coming weeks. And Chuck, go get some sleep, man. I know you're tired.
Thanks. Have a great night, Chad.
Have a good one. See you guys.